Welcome to BeerNet Radio. Listen to on every continent except Antarctica. B-E-E-R-N-E-T.
Beer.
BeerNet Radio.
How many hotels wouldn't allow a 100-pound lamb into a room?
Yeah, almost none of them. No, my internet was kind of getting screwy there for a second. Technical difficulties, Jordan. As you can see, some things never change.
Things never change.
Yeah.
But she's doing good, man. She's, she has her little fussy moments from 6 to 8 in the morning, then 6 to 8 in the evening.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she's done really well. And she's starting to get long stretches of sleep at night, too.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. 2 and 2. Now, when she fusses, do you spank her?
All the time.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure you can't go soft on these kids, Jordan. Just because they're infants.
Yeah, no, I think she got her first spanking while we were in the hospital.
Good. Good. Teach them young. Start them out.
No way.
I mean, August Bush the Fourth got a thimble full of Budweiser as soon as he came out of the womb. Look how well he turned out.
Okay, yeah. But that's tradition, though.
Yeah, but all right. Well, Jordan, I tell you, it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. Everybody at the office today was so excited.
Yeah, Jordan. I don't know if you know this, but since you've been gone, we got rid of the office.
What?
We got rid of a lot of things. In fact, we got rid of your position. I don't know if anybody told you, but I fired you like 2 months ago. I don't know why you keep showing up. Just kidding. No, we are. It's great to have you back. And so I wanted to just ask you a few questions to see how closely you've been watching the news in the beer industry, or just to see if you just like completely just unplugged, So I'm going to ask you 4 questions. If you get 3 of them right, you can keep your job. Okay.
Okay. Now that I have a kid, no pressure. Yeah.
No pressure. We might make it best out of 5. All right.
Oh boy.
Number 1. All these questions are in 3 parts. Who is Seismic Brewing? Who are they suing and why?
Seismic Brewing is a rather small craft brewer out of California that is owned by one of the Kendall Jackson heirs, I believe.
Correct.
And they are suing DBI out Reyes because Reyes bought DBI a couple of years ago.
Okay, all right. You've proven your point.
Okay.
So
they had some sweet agreements with DBI that didn't transfer over to Reyes.
Right. So they're suing. Yeah. All right. Ding, ding, ding. Biscuit, put that down as correct. All right. Biscuit's keeping score.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that makes me feel better now.
All right.
Now we won't know if I pass the test or not.
Number 2. Now this is going to be kind of a layup. I know the first one was hard. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2 question is, who is suing RNDC and Southern Glaciers and why?
That would be Provi, the B2B online marketplace. And they're suing them because they used to work with both of those wine and spirits distributors. And as Provi tells it, they kind of learned that, hey, these guys might be a threat. Let's kind of start our own similar marketplace, and kind of left Provi in the dust.
Yeah, that's right. Squeezed him out. Ding, ding, ding. Biscuit, put him in for 2 out of 3. He must get this one right if I'm understanding the rules that I made up correctly. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Final question. Okay.
All right.
Why is Stone suing Molson Coors? And who won the case initially?
They're suing Molson Coors because, as everyone knows, it's pretty easy to get Stone IPA and Keystone Light confused.
I'm surprised it took so long. Finally. All right. So
And
ding,
Stone,
ding, ding. He put another one.
the jury ruled in favor of Stone, but Molson Coors
Okay.
isn't backing down.
You don't need to show off. All right. Now you're just showing off. Just calm down there. All right. Now, one more question. Who is Sycamore and who are they suing?
Sycamore is a craft brewer out of North Carolina, and they are suing Stone for their Keep It Juicy trademark.
All right. Okay. All right. So all of these cases that I just mentioned, after something happened that I believe was a catalyst for all of the cases we just talked about right now. And what was that thing that happened?
That would be the government's response to Biden's executive order as it relates to competition in bev-alc.
Correct.
I think so. Yeah.
That is.
It felt emboldened by what the Treasury Department said, and
right.
Now they're going after.
As you know, recitation of the news is only half of your job. So now, if you get this question correct, you can keep your job.
Okay. The rules are changing a little bit. But...
Okay. So between now and the end of the year, do you think that more lawsuits or less lawsuits will be filed compared to this time last year within the beverage alcohol industry?
I'm going to say more.
You can keep your job. Congratulations, Jordan. Not only that, I should give you a raise. You got all of them. Biscuit, did he get any of them wrong? Biscuit can't remember now.
Oh, thanks a lot, Biscuit.
You're so worthless.
There goes the raise.
Yeah. We'll have to, trust me, when we have Jen back on, I think she'll make it harder. Because I didn't do a lot of pre-planning in this. As you were dialing in, I remembered that I was supposed to ask you some questions.
I was kind of hoping you forgot about that.
Yeah, no.
I figured everybody was a little angry with me from being gone for 2 months.
Well, I wasn't. I enjoyed it, but I think everybody pitched in a good amount, so it didn't make it like extra hard on anybody. So it flowed well, and boy, we sure do know how hard you work now.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about, this company and how small it is. I mean, even someone taking vacation for a week, you gotta buckle up and.
Well, I've solved that. We're not having any more vacations.
Oh, perfect.
I mean,
so everyone's really happy with.
What are you taking a vacation from? We're not in coal mines digging out coal. We're writing about beer. That is a vacation. So, what do you want? If you take a vacation, go work in a coal mine. Then you'd come back to the rest of your job being a vacation. Do you see where I'm heading with this, Jordan?
Yeah. Who needs a break from a daily deadline?
No. 3 deadly deadlines and a conference, which, you know what? It's about that time. It's May. And May means we need to start.
We may need to
start thinking about speakers and planning and Jordan, don't forget it's our 20th beer summit. So it's kind of a landmark.
That's right.
We're going to have extra things there that we're already Melissa's working on. I don't want to spoil it, but right, Biscuit. But Biscuit's been pissed because my car's got a computer glitch in it right now, and the dog mode doesn't turn on, so I can't really take her anywhere.
Maybe the dog mode is tied to your safety report in the Tesla. Right. If you fail that, then they're just like, okay, well, this.
I honestly thought of that.
This person does not deserve dog mode.
Right. because it does punish you if you're too fast or reckless. It'll turn off auto steering, and it says you're out for the next hour. And it is kind of scary that I'm at the mercy of a robot. A robot is telling me I can and can't do something with a vehicle that I bought.
Does Tesla share that with your insurance?
I mean, they don't now, but I'm sure that's coming. And your rates will go up and down based on your driving. Probably, yeah, I'm sure that's got to be coming as more and more EVs come online, because it's so easy to do, and it's coming, Jordan. Robots taking over. I log into Tesla's website, and they ask me if I'm a robot. And I'm like, no, you're the robot that I'm asking about, and you're asking me if I'm a robot. I have a new neighbor next door. He just bought that old house, the fourplex next door,
Yeah.
And he's a young guy and younger guy, and he's ex-military, doing it all himself, very, very put together. And he called me over yesterday. He's like, "Hey, can I show you something?" I said, "Sure." And there's a pipe coming out the side of my house on the second floor. He said every time, it's not funny. Every time I
can tell.
Every time they do their laundry, it just shoots the soapy water out the side of the house onto his house. And if they happen to be outside or anything, it just shoots it onto them. And I was like, well, if you want to coordinate with them, you can have a car wash.
Just recycle that. Yeah.
Recycle that good water. So I was like, oh, so you're going to be one of those kind of neighbors that gripes every time a minor thing happens. You get sprinkled with a little water. What are you, made of sugar? Anyway, let's let Jim McGreevy in.
So how long until you fix that, Harry?
Actually, he said he had a man. And I was like, you know what? If you could just have it done, I'll pay you. That'd be great. So that's kind of cool. We've never had technical difficulties, have we?
No.
We've managed to go through 80 episodes without any technical difficulties, and then here we are.
There's Jim.
Hey guys.
And there he is, the man of the hour.
How are you?
Jim, how are you?
Good. Are you sitting in your house, Harry?
This is my office now, Jim.
This is your office. Oh, right.
We shut down our office, and I call this the old Yeller Barn. It is my house, and as you can see, I have my co-pilot here. She is ecstatic to have you on the call. Of course, this is Jim McGreevy of the Beer Institute. And Jim, how much longer are you with the Beer Institute?
Just another 4 days, Harry. My last day is this coming Friday, May 6th.
Oh, wow. Okay. Can I just talk to you a little bit about your career at the Beer Institute and how you viewed the beer industry kind of coming into it versus how you view it today?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, cheers.
Yes.
Best to you, best to Jordan, best to your viewers and listeners. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the podcast. I think you had my friend Craig Purser on just a few weeks ago, so I follow in his storied footsteps, and I'm very glad to be with you. So cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jim.
No, it's you're looking good, but
I testified this morning before a legislative committee in Vermont on a equalization bill that's making its way through the Vermont legislature, which we can talk about. So I kept the suit on to talk to you guys this afternoon. So
nice.
I think to your question, the beer and the soda industries are very different. I didn't realize when I came to the beer industry just how dynamic and vibrant the business is, both from the big brewers' perspective and from the smaller brewers' perspective.
Right.
8 years ago, there was already the sort of the movement around craft breweries opening up around the country, but that's only in many ways galloped faster forward over the last 5 to 7 years, with more and more breweries coming on. The legislative and the policy issues come out of that growing industry of craft. They also come out of the long-standing interests and businesses that the large brewers have. So I found a really dynamic industry when I got here 8 years ago. The soda industry is very different. It's in many ways, much more mature. It hadn't had the disruption of a craft segment coming on board like we've seen first in beer and now in spirits and liquor, certainly. So they're very different, even though they're putting liquid in containers and sometimes using the same partners in terms of distributors and bottlers. They're very different businesses. And I think I leave the beer industry in a position where it's even more vibrant than it was before in terms of players in the marketplace. But also I feel like we are much more unified today than we were the day I walked in the door, which I'm very pleased about.
I definitely agree with that for sure. And let's talk about some of the threats that are coming at beer more recently. And you had mentioned a bill in Vermont. Can you kind of give us an update of what the action is out there with the spirits guys trying to push equalization efforts in the States?
Yeah, I think we've seen, obviously, Harry and Jordan, you're both well versed in this idea that the liquor industry is really looking for parity when it comes to taxes and market access with beer. And this is a 40-year campaign, right? This is back when all they sold, and they still largely sell these products, but all they sold were super high ABV products, in the 30s and 40% ABV. Now they have at least some small segment of their portfolio that is lower ABV products. And this has given them the opportunity to once again reignite this equalization discussion. I had a lunch recently with Chris Swanger, the CEO of the National Trade Association for the liquor industry. And he said, Jim, you have to realize it's in our DNA to want parity with beer on taxes and market access. So this is who they are and what they want from a policy perspective. And we've seen over the last 2 legislative sessions, particularly this year, sort of an execution of that philosophy in terms of their desire to seek lower taxes and greater market access on these spirits-based canned cocktails. And our view is these products are liquor products. They are made in a distillery using the process to make liquor products. They are marketed as liquor products, and they should be taxed as liquor products. So we're having a great debate, I guess, a renewed debate around equalization versus differentiation this year in about 10 states, including Vermont. And I'm happy to say that the policy of differentiation of taxes between beer, wine, and spirits has won out so far. Every state in the union that has discussed this policy change has rejected it. And Vermont is sort of, in some ways, the last man standing of the bills we see out there right now. There's a couple legislatures that haven't started yet, and they may take this issue up. But Vermont's sort of the last bill. We had a hearing this morning. And I think legislators really are starting to understand, in that state, the points that we're making as beer advocates. And there was a craft brewer from Vermont who was also testifying with me. They're starting to hear and understand our arguments about why taxes on liquor products, including canned cocktails, need to be higher. So we'll see what happens in Vermont over the course of the next few days and weeks. The legislature adjourns in about 10 days to 2 weeks. So we'll see what the outcome is. But I'm heartened to see legislatures across the country rejecting these proposals to lower liquor taxes. And I think we have good arguments. We have stronger arguments every day that we're sort of developing, which is great. And we also have that unity that I talked about. So distributors, small brewers, big brewers, we're all united around this idea that this important tax policy should not change in any state in Washington, D.C. And so far, people are hearing us.
I think that's a great point. When you have any highly regulated industry, when you start just changing the rules, you're not just changing the rules, you're changing the entire structure. But listen to me rambling. You know me, I get excited about this stuff, Jim.
No, I think you're right. I mean, we are a heavily regulated industry. People probably don't, the average beer drinker, and maybe even the average policymaker doesn't understand just how regulated the beer industry and the alcohol industry is. And then this was part of the discussion that the committee was having this morning in Vermont. One change of the tax structure leads to 10 other maybe unforeseen consequences. One change in the distribution of products leads to 10 other maybe unforeseen consequences. So it's good for us to be able to get out there, talk about why we're different and why we're better than liquor and why we deserve to keep the lower tax that we have. And like I said, I think at this point, people are largely hearing our point of view, which is great.
Well, I remember when Eisenhower left the presidency, and he very famously warned the future administrations against the military-industrial process. And so is there anything, as you leave the beer industry and go to Coke, what should we be worried about?
I think two things, and they're related. One is this push towards equalization that the liquor industry has talked about, but the other is sort of bigger, more global issue. And that's around this concept that some academics, some critics of the industry have, that there is no safe level of consumption of alcohol. And it's all bad for you. You better stop it. And we just don't see things that way, right? I mean, life is about balance. We certainly see that there are some harmful consumption out there, and the beer industry, through many different programs, but also through our product offerings, I'm particularly talking about low and no alcohol beers, help in that policy issue around harmful consumption. So this idea that you could call it nanny staters, you could call it whatever you want. This idea of this no safe level of alcohol has sort of caught on in some countries and in some policies regulating alcohol in other countries. And I think we have to be very on guard for that coming to the United States. We just saw a version of that in the latest discussion of the dietary guidelines for Americans document that came out in early 2021. That process is ramping up for 2025. So I think everybody in beer has to be on guard for this discussion or this advocacy of the theory of no safe level of alcohol consumption. Related to that is what I'm talking about related to liquor and beer. We have to keep pushing, and we're doing it now in so many different places, but we sort of let our guard down a little bit in beer, I think, over the last 10 to 20 years around making sure that policymakers understand that beer is better and different than liquor and better and different than wine. And we deserve that lower tax. We deserve that greater access. We're offering to the consumer a wider variety of choices in terms of low and no alcohol beers, in terms of other kinds of products that, like hard seltzers and other products that these ready to drink products that consumers are interested in. We are providing great products, but also solutions to some of the public policy problems that people bring up about beer consumption. So I think we have to be on guard for the critics to the industry getting an upper hand. And of course, I think we have to be on guard for the liquor industry's constant, decades-long desire to equalize and normalize their consumption with ours.
Right. I mean, I remember the first week I started Beer Business Daily, it was that the liquor guys were starting to advertise on cable TV, and now look at him now. And it was like late night shows that nobody watched. Jordan, we're bringing Jordan back. He's been off having a baby, and so we're easing him back into work. Today's his first day. Jordan, what do you have for Jim?
Today's your first day? Wow.
Today's my first day back. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I got an easy one for you, Jim. How in the heck is the BI going to replace you? And are you helping out with that search at all?
I don't know, Jordan. It's going to be awful hard. Trust me. It's going to be awful hard. I've been heartened since I let my bosses know that I was leaving the BI, that they've really taken a proactive approach to finding my replacement. So they're talking to search firms here in Washington, D.C. They're, preparing the materials that need to be prepared. They're starting to look for candidates. I'm not involved in the process, nor do I want to be. But I think that, I think they're going to find somebody great. I mean, I think the Beer Institute in 2022 is a stronger organization and a stronger operation than it was in 2014 when I got there. I'm proud of that. Maybe it's not the most humble thing to say, but I'm really proud of it. And I think it's clear that that the organization will be of interest to very qualified candidates to take over as the CEO. We've had victories on the Craft Beverage Modernization and Tax Reform Act. You'll recall that beer brewers were fighting in the halls of Congress in 2014 over what excise tax relief should look like. By 2020, we had gotten to one bill and gotten that tax relief. Heck, we led the charge to get the tax relief. The liquor and wine industry sort of came along as beneficiaries of it. We've implemented over the last 8 years the Brewers Voluntary Disclosure Initiative that gave consumers more information on what's in the bottle of beer or what's in the can of beer that they're going to consume. We're the only industry or sector of alcohol in any organized, united way that has done that. Liquor has not done that. Wine has not done that. That's a real calling card for our relationship with consumers. The Beer Institute is the current chairman of the Global Beer Trade Association, the Worldwide Brewing Alliance, and helped stand up a more robust advocacy organization that has done great work at the WHO and the WTO and other multilateral organizations. So there's a lot there to say grace over for the next person who's going to come in and take the leadership role here. And we have great companies. We have great members. We need more of them. I think we're much more attractive to small brewers to become a member of the Beer Institute. So I feel like I'm leaving the place better than I found it. And I think they're going to find a great person to replace me who's going to bring a new perspective to the operation, right? And they're going to see some things that I did wrong. They're going to see some things that we did well. And they're going to make it even better. So I'm excited.
I would definitely agree that it is a better organization than when you came in. And, as an observer of the institution of the Beer Institute for the last, 30 years, from Jeff Becker on, it's had its ups and downs. And one of the hardest parts about the job, and I'd like to ask you about it, is managing CEOs of very multinational giant corporations, which comes with its own set of challenges. And can you talk about a little bit about, about how you were able to do that with organizations that don't always see eye to eye?
Yeah, I mean, I came to the Beer Institute frankly, without a lot of knowledge about the beer business. And really what I thought going in was the organization needed to provide leadership both to its members, but then also across the industry, right? I knew about this sort of dispute with the small brewers over tax relief. I knew that there was different cultural perspectives between the big brewers and the small brewers. All of that was sort of built into the cake when I walked in the door. But my point of view around sort of leadership and leading the Beer Institute was just try to find opportunities for success and for leadership. So it was great to be able to listen to the folks that were in the CEO seats back then about what they saw in the organization and what they saw in the industry. And once you start listening to people, you start to understand how you might be able to make progress. So Tom Long, Luis Edmond, Bill Hackett, Dolph, all these guys are gone now, right?
Right.
And they really laid out through talking to them and through talking to the management committee folks that work for them, Tim Scully and Doug Bailey and the other guys. I really start to see where the Beer Institute could add value to the industry, add value to the members. The first and foremost was ending the fight over tax relief on the federal side with the small brewers. You'll remember there were two competing bills, the Small Brew Act and the Beer Act, which then migrated into the Fair Beer Act. Right. And I was sometimes I felt Pollyannish about this, or thought people were thinking I was Pollyannish about it, but I really saw the power of the members and the trade associations working together to get something. I really feel in the 8 years of the various issues we've had where the Brewers Association, the Beer Institute, and the MBWA have worked together, beer is practically unbeatable. So to me, observing those initial weeks and months in the job, I understood the power of getting everybody on the same page. And I've tried to pursue that one strategic point of view in the time I've been there. Largely, we find ways to have common ground on issues. Sometimes we agree to disagree. But I think even 8 years ago, the players in beer didn't really know how to agree to disagree. I think we figured that out better now. And this is only in the policy space, right? I mean, these guys are fierce competitors in the marketplace.
Sure.
In the policy space, you can find ways to work together and everybody gets something of what they want. So I think that's that secret sauce that we have found over the course of the last few years. Craig Purser, Bob Pease have been great partners. Our members have been great to sit down at the table with their counterparts at the membership of the other trade associations. We're really, there are a couple issues where we're not aligned, but we're really purring on a lot of these issues, particularly around differentiation. Everybody's largely on the same page on differentiation, and particularly about beer's place in the society, in the minds of the consumer. And we just got to keep that going.
I really liked what you said. We're going to clip that, Jordan, is when they all work together, beer's unstoppable. That's powerful.
Yeah,
and
unbeatable.
Unbeatable.
It's really true. We fought for years over the form of tax relief on the federal side. We introduced the Craft Beverage Modernization and Tax Reform Act, I think on June 11th of 2015. It was passed into law on a temporary basis in December of 2017. So a little over 2 years to get something done that beer in one form or another had been looking for since 1991, since the doubling of the excise tax. And then 3 years later, being able to get it into law in a permanent basis. I think that just goes to the political sophistication of everyone in the trade associations and the membership. It goes to the desire of policymakers to help us, which can never be underestimated. And it goes to the ability of everyone to work together to reach a common goal. We should just do that over and over again. Right. Rinse and repeat.
It's a good model. Okay. I don't want to keep you too long, but what do you think the effect, if any, this Treasury report on alcohol on anti-competitive practices is going to have?
Yeah, I don't think we know yet. I do think, though, it's going to have not a lot of effect. Listen, I think the folks that wrote that report, very well-meaning, very smart, very sophisticated folks, well-versed in the law. I just don't think they understood the beer business. I don't think you can see I don't think you can look at an industry that has gone from essentially 50 breweries left in the United States in the late 1970s, early 1980s, to, I guess we estimate almost 7,000 breweries today, and some would say a lot more than that. 20,000 consumer offerings or product offerings to the consumer. I don't think you could look at those two statistics alone in terms of brewery numbers and offerings to the consumer and say that there's a problem with competition in the beer industry. I don't know what the Biden administration is going to do with, or the TTB is going to do with the report. It tracks their sort of worldview around big companies versus small companies. I think they're just missing the mark in beer. We're certainly telling them that. Others in beer are telling them that. So we just got to work it as advocates to make them understand. So we'll see where it goes. I think it's I'm hoping it's sort of a flash in the pan issue. Every industry, I'm sure, could use a little more competition, presumably. Nothing's perfect, right? But I don't think it's going to have any lasting impacts on our industry. I just think they got it plumb wrong, frankly.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. And then finally, Jim, and first, thank you so much for carving out those 30 minutes for us, because I know I'm sure you're very busy trying to tie up loose ends and get ready. But tell me what drew you to Coca-Cola.
Well, it's an iconic company. It's got iconic brands. For me as an advocate, I spent 10 years at the trade association representing Coca-Cola. The opportunity to represent a company like that in Washington, D.C., out in the States in terms of state legislatures and state government affairs was sort of hard to pass up, quite frankly. This is one of the great American companies. We certainly have some great American companies in beer, no doubt. But the opportunity to sort of go back to the beverage industry, representing this company and these brands, it's just hard to pass up for me at this time in my career. Where I am in my life as an advocate. So I'm excited to do that, of course. But Harry, and Jordan, I'm disappointed to be leaving such a vibrant and dynamic industry as beer. Both the soda industry and the beer industry are human businesses, right? We spend a lot of time socializing with one another. We spend heck, there's thousands of people today in Minneapolis doing that very thing. We spend a lot of time talking to the consumer about the value of our products and our place in American history. The last 17 years of my life, working first for the American Beverage Association, then for the Beer Institute, and now going forward for the Coca-Cola Company, has been a real privilege. It's a real honor. I'm just very pleased to be able to try this new adventure out. Sad to leave such a great industry in beer, though, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, Coke is the gold standard, and not just in beverage, but in all CPG, and nobody can deny that. And I'm just glad you made a stop here in the beer industry.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Your friendship and Jordan's and Jen's and others at your company have been great over the years. I do believe that the Beer Institute can only go higher at this moment. We can do better advocacy for our members. We and the industry, we can represent as a voice in beer our members and our industry better. I think they're going to find a great leader, and they're going to build on what we've been able to accomplish over the last 8 years. And one of the reasons they're going to do that is because there are 11 great people that work at the Beer Institute today, and they're doing a great job. They're representing the industry well. And I like to say that we have the 12th man there, which is the bar at the Beer Institute, that we use multiple times a year to show policymakers and people in the administration who beer is, what we are, and how great we are. So I think that's just going to continue. But it's been a privilege and an honor to be able to represent beer these last few years, and I'm sad to go.
Well, good. I appreciate your friendship as well. And Jim, thank you for drinking beer. I don't care where you go or what you do, you got to still drink beer. And
no problem. No problem.
Coming on. All right, take care.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah,